Hello, everybody. I've got Bishop Regesh on here for the fourth installment in The One Who Got Away. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, The One Who Got Away. And
Oh, by the way, how do you like my pictorial?
your what?
Can you see it?
Your new haircut?
No, my pictorial.
I don't know where that is.
It's right here.
Oh, no, I couldn't see that. What is that?
That's a pictorial cross. It's just a plain silver cross. See it?
It's not a necklace then.
Yes, this is a necklace. What you saw the other time, the gold one, that was called cords. That is what a bishop wears only in service, only when I'm in choir dress.
You're talking about a pectoral.
Yes, a pectoral.
Okay, I thought you said pictorial.
No, a pictorial is a picture. Some illustration.
We were talking a little about the Hebrew Roots movement.
Yes.
And you've been trying to move out of the Hebrew Roots for quite some time, and I guess I understand that, but we've talked a lot about it. Now maybe you can give us the lowdown.
Well, the first thing people need to understand is that I've been doing Hebrew Roots type stuff for over 20 years. Okay. And this wasn't an easy decision to come to. But I had to do something because my peace was being stolen. I know that the Father called me to serve in ministry. I know that the Father called me to do something. And when I got in Hebrew Roots type organizations, they would all place a waist belt chain around my waist to hold me down. They wouldn't let me do this, wouldn't let me do that. Didn't want to teach me nothing. Just taught me just enough to be the grinning black Sambo in the congregation.
Well, that's exactly what I thought first time I met you.
Right, exactly.
Back when. Yeah,
right.
I thought, this guy's got a lot of talent. What's he doing pounding on a conga drum?
Right, exactly.
Cartoon or something.
Exactly. It's just something I think they use blacks and governor as well. I mean, they use governor because he can sing and this, that, and the other, but they didn't want to teach him nothing. They wanted to teach him all this crazy doctrine. They want to teach him these stupid Enochian calendars. They want to teach him these stupid solar lunar calendars. This stupid Hillel calendar. All the things that don't matter to salvation. And this is what they got us wrapped up in, this false doctrine. Okay, rather than the doctrine of Yahweh, the doctrine of Yeshua the Messiah. Okay, which to go into all the world. Teach the gospel, preach the gospel, and make Talmudim of people. We're sitting here worrying about whether goddamn plural marriage is salvation or not. We're worried about whether the Enochian calendar is starting on the right day or not.
Or veganism.
Amen. Veganism or whatever. Or whether the Jewish people should be disinherited. These are dumb, stupid things that are destroying our community. You see these riots going on right now in this country?
Yes.
Imagine when the body starts burning that way, because it's coming. Okay? People are dissatisfied. People are not growing. There's a conflict between the one-man system leadership and the general body, because the general body know that they're supposed to be shepherded. Everybody wants to be a Torah teacher, but they ain't teaching Torah. That person drops dead, the mission dies. They got to go find somewhere else to go. People know, they instinctively know that they know what order is. I'm sorry. They instinctively know what order is.
I think too that when you're in that movement, I'm not criticizing it. What I'm saying is for you, especially, you are minded toward salvation issues. You're minded toward evangelism. Now,
yes,
people like me, I'm not. I want to teach a little higher understanding,
And
intellectual understanding.
it's nothing wrong with that, because what did Paul say? And by the way that these people treat Paul, you know what I'm saying? If they want to cut Paul out of the Bible, they want to cut this out of the Bible because it don't fit their narrative.
Cut Hebrews out.
Yeah, exactly. All of these type of, and then stupid people listen to them. And we are just no longer willing to participate in that. Now, you said something. You talked about, there's some people, most people in the Hebrew roots are not evangelistic minded. They don't want to do, the only thing they want to do is learn and learn. But
they're
you know
inward
what?
people. They're not
right.
Outgoing people.
Exactly. But here's my thought. There's a place for that as well. If you want to be just chill out and receive information till you throw up, then that's also fine. But at the core, the base, you still have to go into all the world and teach the gospel. You want to teach a high level group? Good. Get your group of 10, 15 people, and you can have a level of higher instruction. But on the outside of that, you have to realize that you're a part of a larger project, and that's what the Independent Messianic / HR fails to understand. All of these little groups of their own little cult.
How can you say that within the context of Romans 12,
mm-hmm.
where we are all members of the body, but we have different jobs?
That's the point. We're saying the same thing. That's what I'm saying. We're members of one body, but the Independent Messianic, they don't really see that.
No,
they don't really say that. They will tell you, you go to this place, this congregation, this fellowship, you do what we tell you to do. You will think the way.
That is a salvation issue right there. It
exactly.
Is, I've noticed that too. Some that I know, you come in around here and you're going to have to, we're going to put these burdens on you right away.
Exactly. And as we were talking about earlier, I believe that the Hebrew roots may even have a race issue. Think about it. How many Black leaders do you see in the Hebrew roots?
I don't know too many of those leaders, but I suspect from our own vantage point these last years, we haven't seen too many of them.
Exactly.
They get more cultish. They go outside of the
They go to something like the Black Hebrew Israelites,
yes, exactly,
or something like that. But for the most part, Blacks do not come into the Independent Messianic. I only know of a few people. We talked about some last week. We talked about Tony Robertson. We talked about Arthur Bailey, and we talked about a friend of mine, Kevin Jones.
So look, why don't you call them racists?
Call who?
That's not white people that are racist. Most of the Black people I have known that have not been converted are very strong racists.
Yeah, you talk about in the no, these guys are in the movement. Those guys are still in the Hebrew roots movement. But I think for somebody like myself and Governor who came into the movement, really looking to find a place to belong, a place to serve, a place to be able to help out, we didn't find that. And and we looked around and people did not look like us. Like myself, I'm used to leadership being a strong leadership.
But you got a great job as a conga player, pounding on the drum.
Yeah, exactly. I was the person that you drug out when you want them to preach a sermon and say, don't pay that nigga no mind. Listen to what I tell you. He told you that this, don't pay no attention. That nigga don't know what he's talking about. And I'm using those words like that on purpose. He's just a dumb nigga that lost his sight, and God's punishing him, and he's overweight, and that's another thing that really hurt me. Somebody contacted me today, sent me an email, sent governor email and asked about me and stuff like that. And I won't say nothing because I really feel hurt, because the person really said something about my weight.
Don't people understand thyroid problems and problems?
But they don't. Well, here, just and this is what feeds to the racism.
Mm-hmm.
You see this big nigga sitting there with, and I'm saying that again on purpose, this big nigga sitting there with this plate of food, and you think he's a fat, no good slob.
Oh, so you want another leg quarter?
Exactly. I don't have a right. They feel you don't have a right to have anything other than what I tell you you're gonna have. It got so bad. That's the way it was in one place. You
Well,
get what
yeah.
I tell you to get. You're
We've had
overweight.
outright persecution about that.
Yes. And I'm not going to take it anymore. And I might end up going to jail, but I'm not going to take it anymore. The next person that comes and tries to manage my plate or what I'm eating, I'm going to knock them the hell out. Okay? It is what it is. And I put up with, and the reason why I say that is because I've been abused by those bigots for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been abused by Seventh-day Adventists. You want to know why? Why I don't like those people, Seventh-day Adventists?
No,
You know,
why?
you know why I don't like those people in worldwide, the Church of God, Seventh Day, and these stuff? Because these same bigots, these same racists, these same judgmental people are the people that have taken over the independent messianic movement right now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So I don't fool with them.
You keep going, you might end up as like the next Al Sharpton.
Oh, no. Oh, did you see him today?
No.
Oh, it was terrible. Oh, you should have
What'd he
saw.
do?
Oh, well, they had the memorial service for
George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. in Indianapolis before they moved the body to Houston next week. They're gonna go ahead and bury him. And Al Sharpton did the eulogy. And every time I look at Al Sharpton, I get angry.
Why don't they get a local pastor there that knew the guy?
Well, see, that's what I'm talking. Well, because he probably wasn't a believer. Okay, he probably was not. He's what the Church of God in Christ was called some Negro that got killed, and now somebody got to bury him. He probably wasn't a believer. Here's what I'm seeing, because I've been researching stuff about him. I have a feeling that he had issues. He had criminal issues.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, and they go back for a while. But I also believe that there's a good history. Okay, he's a good person on the other side. So I have a feeling he had an early battle with drugs.
Sure.
And he got straight. And I think he was on the relapse when he got killed.
One thing about that is so fishy is he goes in, buys a pack of cigarettes, comes out, gets in the car, and then these fellas come out accusing him of passing a counterfeit 20. Well, how would he know that?
Well, he probably didn't know it unless. Yeah. Now, I know you do know that. I don't know if I told you, but in one of these things, I probably should have told you that I was friends with some Hispanics that were part of what we would call what are called the Latin Kings. Okay. And this is after I lost my sight. So they took care of me. They watched me. They protected me. They didn't get up in my face, but they watched me from a distance to make sure if I had a problem somewhere, 7 or 8 of those people would show up.
Were you thinking about joining the Latin Kings or what?
No, I knew the game. I knew the leader.
Okay.
I knew the leader. One of the leaders. He was his dad was my football coach. So I practically was raised with him. So he watched out for me for years. Years he watched out. They watched out for me.
He watched out for you.
Yes, and it's a term called drawing colors. And that's when you show up. Next thing you know, 30 of them show up and they're watching out for you.
Oh, I've been experienced that on the bad end of it. One time.
But there was something that happened one time somewhere, and I got in a place by accident, and something happened, and they thought I was trying to do something. All of a sudden, these 4 guys say, "Hey, man, we just want to let you know. We just want to let you know that we're here. You okay? You need something?" And I'm like, I'm good, I got it. And I didn't have any more problems in that place. I was trying to get something straightened out with a bill or something. But here's something that I'll tell you about. Fake counterfeit money is a big deal. Okay. These guys were moving that this set was moving counterfeit money. As a matter of fact, a couple of them went to the federal pen in Atlanta for a while for this. So unless George Floyd was moving counterfeit bills,
I can't imagine.
But I don't think he was.
To buy a pack of cigarettes, give me a break.
No, I think what happened, it happened to a friend of ours here in Cleveland. Okay. And it was a big deal. He, the father took care of him, and he was able to turn that bill over to the police department to also turn it over to Treasury. But a $20 bill was passed to him, and they had to look at it on the camera and everything else in a store. So this could be something. Also, think about that nightclub that they both worked at, both him and this officer worked at. There's something
both him
seedy.
And the officer.
Yes.
Which him and which officer?
Floyd and the officer.
You will excuse me for interrupting once.
That's fine. As a matter of fact, I would appreciate it if you did.
Floyd and the officer worked at the same nightclub.
That's correct. And it was a very suspicious nightclub. And that's when I started checking and asking the questions that I needed to ask, because something wasn't right. So I don't know. I do believe that the officer should be charged with first-degree murder. He murdered that man. I saw it. You saw it. Everybody saw it. That was a murder. He should be executed.
You're talking about Derek Chauvin.
Yes, Chauvin. That sounds French, doesn't it?
That is a French name. I don't know if he calls it Chauvin, but I see Chauvin there. And I'm wondering that they knew each other.
Yes, they did. Saying. Yes, they did.
Yeah, well, that's a vendetta right there. He wanted to kill that guy.
Well, so that's what we got. And maybe Floyd found out something, or vice versa. We don't know. We don't know what the issue is. All I know is these Negroes going up there and memorializing him as some patron black saint. Yeah. That is not true.
Yes, I heard some of that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something else. I think it's time for the black clergy to go. Okay, we need new black leadership, and these people like Maxine Waters, Hakeem Jeffries, and all these other black people that are in leadership, they need to be removed. John Lewis, he done been banged upside the head so many times, he doesn't know whether he's going or coming. Jesse Jackson, he's talking stupid. And Al Sharpton, he's a liar and a thief that was deposed, defrocked, and excommunicated from the Church of God in Christ.
He should have been excommunicated when he used to have that hairstyle.
Oh, gosh.
They'll probably let him back in now.
No, maybe Bishop Blake would let him back in, but I would hope that Bishop Blake would have the sense. I saw something today. I'm like, oh, goodness, here we go. Now they're going to get involved. And so, but I know I don't like Al Sharpton. I mean, he's a liar, he's a thief, and he hurt people. He hurt people, and he's also anti-Semitic.
I think that you're at the age where you could rise up in that, and you're very outspoken. You're also very conservative, whereas these black leaders
are very liberal.
The ones that they want to be leaders, these fellows that piped up during the times they were on the network with Floyd, about Floyd, what they said, if you analyze it, is ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. I'm going to preach about that on Shabbat, but so that's why one of the reasons I want to talk to you about it. Those other ones are old timers.
Right.
Old-time super liberals. They take advantage of such things as this. This is a horrendous crime. And
absolutely.
They rush in just like fools.
Yes. And the black community, they don't realize that they're being used by two groups. They're being used by these black clergy, like Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. and all these people that show up to the funeral or the levaya of a criminal. Okay, that's what they showed up for today. But on the other side is this white liberal destructive. You want to know who destroyed a lot of these communities? Are these white liberal destructive Antifa types and Black Lives Matter. And when they destroy your community, they leave. Okay, they don't work. They ain't got no,
They of course they do. They're paid race baiters, and they're
exactly
out of there.
And the poor black. I was in the barber shop today, and I had a discussion with some people. And there's some people that are really bothered about this stuff, and they think it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump, they gonna kill Donald Trump. They wish that somebody would kill Donald Trump.
That's illogical.
Well, see, the problem is they've been a fed SHIT from the Democratic Party for so long. This has been good. This didn't just start with Donald Trump. This started in 2000.
Let's say it started with Lyndon Johnson. I've been looking at in 1967. I was a viewer of all the riots that were all over. Again, this is what I want to talk about.
Right.
The riots in all these different cities, and
Newark, Watts, let's see, Chicago.
I was 14 then, but I was an intelligent fellow, and I was very interested in it. I was absolutely shocked as the news media, which was a little more honest in those days, went from one riot to the other, people getting killed, people getting tortured.
Right.
They burned down their own territory,
own neighborhoods, their own businesses, and then they put these black women or older black women on there. Too damn bad.
Why do they put the most ignorant people on the microphone?
Because that's the way the white liberals want the black community to be viewed. They want black people to be viewed as victims. They want them to be viewed as crazy. They want them to be viewed as people. As a matter of fact, you go and even with the homeless stuff, look at some of the stuff, the videos they put the most dumbest, the most stupidest, the most sympathetic. And I'm gonna tell you something about Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump got a law degree, but Benjamin Crump need to shut the hell up. Because that's the family attorney for the Floyd family. And when he
does he stand for Black Lives Matter?
I believe so.
Yeah, I heard his speech, and I thought, who is this ignorant fool?
He sounds like an ignorant, and I'm going to say it, nigger.
Okay, well, you can say that, but I didn't think of it that way. I thought, well, why would they put on this ignorant fool here that can't even put three English words together?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. I'm like, go and get somebody that can and see what they're appealing to is the emotion. I mean, did you see the call and response? I finally turned it off. I said, turn it off. Because what they're doing is they're appealing to the call and response. They're mocking Black tradition. They're mocking my mother. They're mocking my daddy. They're mocking my grandmother and my granddaddy because they don't know what that was all about. Okay? They don't know what it was all about. I mean, my parents never, and some of those people like Al Sharpton, that's fine. They did this as well, but here's the deal. Don't get up there on Fox News and do all and make all these statements and didn't have the Negroes.
Right.
Stay on, boy. This is not 1968.
They talk like the black people of the 1930s.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, step and fetch it.
Yeah. Well, that's what they were. This is the image that they are trying to shape. This is the image that they're trying to get people to see. This is the image that they want white America to see. And now all of this crying and carrying on about apologizing. I'm like, man, look, it happened. It's over. It is what it is. Any apology that you do is not going to do any good. Okay? He who is convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So leave these people, I mean, man, whatever. I mean, I just want people to repent. And what does his word says? If those who are called by my name will humble themselves and turn away from their wicked ways, that means blacks, whites, Hispanics,
I'll hear their
whatever,
prayer.
then will I hear from heaven, and then will I heal their land. And that's what we're seeing on display for the past week. People are I'll give an example.
Okay.
After Shabbat, we're watching the coverage on Fox News, and they were talking with this young white dude, and they asked him a question. His name was Alan. It's Alan. Do you know why you're out here? He starts talking, but then within 2 seconds, he starts going. I'm like, what? And I'm like, Gov, we're watching a demon act out right here on Fox News. A demon-possessed person. And in all of that screaming, oh, Trump is going to turn the military on us to kill us. I'm like, and I scream back at the TV, good. I hope he does.
Well, you know, Trump is urging these governors to do something about this. They're breaking the law.
They're not going to.
Chauvin and those guys, they're arrested. He's up for second-degree murder now. The other guy's up for accessory to murder.
Right.
Look, what else are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to
here's what's supposed to happen.
Sillies?
Here's what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to burn this doggone country down, especially in those Democratic areas. Then they're going to turn around and say, vote Democrat, because the Republicans are the reason why your community was burnt down. They burnt your community down. Okay?
Don't you think that's dishonest? Demonic even?
The Democratic Party, here's the prayer before Yahweh. I am praying that Yahweh will destroy the Democratic Party. I asked him to destroy the Democratic Party. I want them to turn on each other and eat each other like the Assyrians did. You know why I want that to happen? Because that is not the party of Yahweh.
Of course
neither is the Republican, but they are not a party of life. They are a party of death. They are a party of destruction. They are a party of anarchy. They are, and those people, they're people in the black clergy that got caught up in this. Okay, and if they want to keep working in their ministry, they need to leave the Democratic Party. Those people are not godly people. Those are demonic people. Okay, and they're being used by, and they're being infiltrated by atheists, faggots, and anything else.
I agree with you. I think that most of their leaders are nothing more than a bag of bones with a big old demon filling them out.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
I mean, have you ever listened to Nancy Pelosi? And by the way, do you notice that Nancy Pelosi has a glass face?
It's because she's had so many surgeries, I think.
Right, exactly.
Botox she does surgeries.
Yes, she does. And I like what Tucker Carlson said the other night. Those that live in glass, that have glass faces, should not throw stones. And I'm like, I thought about, I should get me a red brick and put it in a purse and just go up the wire. No, I'm kidding.
Well, Nancy, she's a very aggressive, assertive, power-hungry person.
And she knows that she's about to lose.
Well, it looked like she was going to, but we don't know now. How old is she? Pushing 80?
They're going to move. Whoever the next speaker is, they're not going to have her there.
Of course not.
There's still a rift there, and I think that they want more of a control. Look, these people fully intend to destroy this country.
Yeah.
They fully intend on destroying this country, and let me tell you, I'm telling you, that COVID-19 thing, that's all connected to this. Because while you was locked up in your house, they were planning on burning the country. Okay? They just needed the issue, and it just happened to be George Floyd.
That's right. I agree with you completely.
And they have burnt the country. They don't want Trump to open up the country. They don't want Trump to get this country back on its feet, so they crashed the economy. They want to destroy the healthcare system. And they don't want you to be able to take care of yourself so that they can turn around and say This man hates people. This man you need to kill. This man you need to get out of office and kill. And I mean that, and that includes his family too. They'll take that child and take that child by the legs and bash that child's brains in. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They will take an autistic child and take him by the legs and bash that child's brains in on the sidewalk. Listen. And this is the party that stands for disability rights. But they will kill you. And you've heard me preach about it. They've already proven that they are willing to kill you.
Yeah, more like put the vacuum cleaner to the vagina.
Yes, exactly. It's the same thing. Because they probably believe that he shouldn't have been born anyway. And that's what people,
their platform is based on that.
Exactly. People need to pay attention. And, black people thinking that they're getting something for free, but they don't realize do they think these white liberals are going to start with? They're going to start with black and Hispanic people because it's all about having a measure of worth for them.
I think that they're disposable.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about black, Hispanic.
That's what. And there's a lot of them that believe that. Yes,
they're disposable. Useful idiots. When the time comes, we don't need them anymore.
We'll kill every last one of them. And how do we know that? Look at what happened with illegal immigration. Who's behind it? See, here's the thing, and this is why we need to get rid of those blacks that's in there. Those black leaders have not done anything for anybody in the black community. They'll stand up for gay rights. They'll stand up for transgender rights. They'll stand up for illegal immigration, but they have not stood up for anything concerning the black community. Anything.
My understanding is that Trump and his administration has done more for minorities than any other administration.
And that's why
can't they see that?
Because they're being told, you don't listen to Trump. Trump is a racist. Trump is a bigot. You don't listen to Trump. Anything that Trump says, you throw it away. And they don't realize that they're missing out on these opportunities. So they're telling people, I'll kill Trump and I'll kill Trump family. But they don't realize.
It's hard to believe.
I do.
Somebody say that in these speeches?
No, but I see it in the action. And the actions, and actually some of those left-wing people have said those things. They have said those things. Those are the most hate-filled people. And what it is these angry hippies from 1968 that lost. You know what I'm saying? Like Obama, like Clinton, like the other Clinton. These people are angry. They lost. And they keep coming back, and they said that they're going to turn this into a socialist republic. And if they need to kill you to do it, they're going to do it. They need to kill me to do it, they're going to do it.
I wish the common American person would look into socialism and what it's done in the past.
Right.
And look at some of the socialist countries today. Like we've got Russia, we got communist China.
Right, exactly.
We've got Cuba, we've got Nazi Germany.
Right, exactly.
Little Sweden.
Exactly.
Keep comparing us to.
But see, here's what they tell these young people. You have to fix it. And so young people are trying to fix this, trying to right wrongs, but they're not doing it the right way. Right now, churches are closed. You know why that riot happened? Because churches are closed. They do not want people calling on Yahweh. They do not want people praying. They don't want people coming together. And this coronavirus, while it is true, I think that we should have still been allowed to go. We're adults. We can make up our minds as to whether we're sick, not feeling well, but they're starting to tell you what to do. They're starting to tell you what to do. They're controlling your life. Stay home, put on a mask, and shut the hell up.
It's a petri dish.
Yes.
They're throwing this virus into a petri dish and see how it's going to develop, and it's developing in accordance with their understanding. Now,
well, exactly. Well, they knew how it was going to develop. They knew that they had the issue to cause the economy to crash, to cause the healthcare system to crash, to strain the nerves of the system. And now they're coming to you, telling you, now, you get rid of him, And that way, and once you get rid of him, and you're gonna be stupid to get rid of him, and then you're gonna be stuck. And I'm telling you, by next year, you'll be a socialist country.
Okay, look, when I was a 16-year-old socialist, and you think, well, that's just a kid, but I was a very intelligent 16-year-old socialist, read up on it, and I fell in with some of my friends to socialist literature because at that time in the 60s, they were putting on us socialist literature in the school system and outside. We couldn't have church in we couldn't have church in school, but we could have all the socialists come in. And then I had an opportunity at 17 to go into socialist countries.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I came back
with a different idea.
Socialist. Different idea. And when I saw the poverty and the promises broken there, and the youth my own age and what they were doing, which was nothing, then when I came back, I became a person that appreciated the American way.
Exactly. And a lot of these guys don't know that. Exactly.
We got the whole Democrat Party ready to roll it off into socialism now. At that time, it was just beginning with 1972 and George McGovern, who I voted for.
George McGovern and Thomas Eagleton.
Yes, well, you know, that's ancient history, but if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it.
And that's what they've not taught these kids a damn thing, if you excuse my language. They've not taught them a damn thing. The only thing they taught them to do is how to keep their doggone face in the computer screen. Half of them going blind because they got their face in the computer screen. The other half crazy because they done medicated them so much to the damage things. And the other half can't be, and they can't cope. Nobody can cope. I mean, we're going to have big problems if we don't get into, you know what it may end up having to come to. It may end up having to come to the average man getting in the street with these people. At a certain point, I think we're getting there, where average people are going to have to get out and get in the streets with these people and tell them, you will not destroy this country. And you might have to fight them.
Yes, I'm afraid that it's really getting down to that.
Because I'm looking at this stuff and I'm getting burnt up. I'm getting burnt up beyond belief that nobody is standing up and saying stop. Everybody's apologizing and crying and I don't know. We ain't got time for that.
The socialism that we find in this country is on the Chinese model.
That's correct.
And many of these leaders of quasi-socialist movements have connections to China, especially money connections.
Exactly.
And that's what somebody like the vice president of the United States that makes millions of dollars from Ukraine, which is traditionally national socialist, which is Nazi.
And what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up becoming a totalitarian. See, and here's the dangerous thing that people don't understand. You want to go into socialism, okay? So when that doesn't work, what generally happens? You go totalitarian, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Then, and who's always at the bottom of that? It's always the blacks and the Hispanics. It's always at the bottom of that. Always at the bottom of that. And so people just need to realize that we're going to have to not be pulling down statues and fear thinking that that's going to happen. No, listen, you have to fight those people in the streets. You have to fight the members of the clergy and say, and if you notice, we was talking about Hebrew roots earlier. And how the Hebrew roots is really of no effect. Nobody's going to a Hebrew roots person and asking them anything because they don't know nothing. The only thing that they know is their stupid doctrine. Nobody's going to come to them. They look, act, and talk crazy as hell. Nobody's going to ask them nothing. And so we need people that can stand in the gap, that when these kids come to us.
Absolutely.
And so that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing is people hiding on the internet talking about how they want to use a vaccine to kill us, or the chemtrails. They're going to use chemtrails to kill us, or They're doing this for 5G. They're going to use mind control. And nobody's going to pay any attention to a group of people that constantly talk like that. And me and Governor found that out.
You know what? I am trying my best to do what I can to turn this around on Quora, Facebook, YouTube, podcasting. It's the message is always underneath what I'm trying to do, but this is of the utmost importance.
It's very important. It's very
you get these people, you get them to listen to you. Like I got 100,000 views on Quora, which is a question and answer kind of place. I answer questions over there, and I try to always make my answers Torah-centric.
Right.
And because they are, it seems like you can get a few people in, but it's hard for people like us to get a mass audience.
Now, why do you think that is?
Well, you tell me. You're the expert.
Oh, well, I'm not
politics.
I'm gonna tell you what I think is the problem. And I think I said it earlier. You're not gonna get a mass audience when you sound like you should be locked up in an institution somewhere. And that's what happens with a lot of these people. They have, and I think somebody says it. A friend of ours said it. They are acting as if they have the cheat sheet, and they really don't. What I mean by the cheat sheet, they're acting as if they have everything together, and they know that they know that they know that they know, but they don't. And so they treat people, because they act like they have the cheat sheet, they judge everybody, they say what they say, they do what they do, and people just don't pay attention to them. You know? People don't pay attention
that's true.
People don't pay attention to somebody like that. And so, and truth be told, we hear them all the time when we go to Sukkot events, or when we go to all the events where a large group of these people gather. Sukkot seems to be the largest time that the only time that they really go out and they really gather. Some people do Passover, but for the most part, it's really done in the home. And that's really the only time you see people like this mass, you know? And so that happening, I think, doesn't, and also we preach to the choir. We'll get people there to agree with what we're saying, and and everybody wants to have a debate. That's another thing. We spend so much time debating, we spend very few time walking.
I think by and large, when you talk about Hebrew roots movements again, this isn't just a dinky movement anymore. This has got upward of 1 million people in it.
Right.
I think that they have a tendency to ban political speech.
Yes, you know what? You're right. You're right. They ban political speech. They also ban political activity. So when all of a sudden the blows start coming down, they have no clue. Most of these people are in their house. I think I saw something where Liz McGee was talking about going to your house and pray. No, sir.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Get out of that house and go downtown if you need to, and get in the face of the enemy. No. That's what we supposedly know. We supposedly have the truth, right?
Yes.
So why are we running before the enemy?
People are scared. They don't realize that when you get in a situation like that, you have the Holy Spirit to rely on.
Hallelujah. Yes.
You don't have to worry about what to say.
And that's what Yeshua said.
Yeah.
That's what Yeshua said. I'm going to tell you another reason why they're scared. They're not sure that they're believers. They're not sure that they're believers.
Explain that a little more.
In other words, I think we talked about, I don't know whether it was last time or the time before last, but we talked about the Hebrew roots not having a profession of faith. In other words, I come into your congregation, I sit there, I eat up information till I vomit, I go home, but has anybody ever heard me make a profession of faith? Has anybody seen me be baptized?
You mean personally?
Personally. And a lot of these people have not taken a profession of faith, so they're not believers.
Well, people that's not what's currently popular. I mean,
right,
statements of beliefs are for churches.
Well, see, and that's the problem. The church wasn't wrong. They wasn't wrong when they started talking about a profession of faith. They wasn't wrong when they was talking about make for baptism. They wasn't wrong. Of course, now we get to the Hebrew roots thing when they start talking about circumcision and all this other stuff. They wasn't wrong about that stuff. But now we got these people. He could be a faggot. He could be a drug addict. He could be demon possessed. He could be sitting there hurting and need the filling of the Holy Spirit. He's sitting there eating all of this dumb knowledge, and he's not growing. And then when push comes to shove, he's not a believer. A lot of the people in this movement are not believers, because if you were a believer, you would do what the Spirit say do, and the fruit would show that. The fruit is not showing anything other than bad fruit. And so that's something that we got to really think about when we sit next to somebody in the congregation. Is this brother or sister a believer? That's why I started doing Passover in the home, because we were sitting down next to people that weren't circumcised of the heart and the body. Okay?
Yeah.
And so we had to stop it. So we don't go to nobody's Passover no more. You know? So that's just something that we need to be careful of, because everything is so unregulated. There's no authority. Don't tell me what to do. Or they have the one man that tells you what to do. They don't have elders. They have elders that you can look at, but those elders, for the most part, just stand around.
They don't have any power.
That's correct. They just stand around and they do what the one man says do.
It's prestige, I think, when you get into a Beit Din or something like that. Whoever the head man is that gets you in there has got all the power, and he knows you're going to be a yes man. Yeah, you're going to be a yes man, or you wouldn't have got in there.
You do what he say do. If he told you to vote no, you voted no. He told you to vote yes, you voted yes. And you know what? I think we're going to start seeing, same thing we're seeing with these riots, we're going to start seeing that with the Hebrew Roots movement, because people are starting to wake up. I know of so many people that are leaving the Hebrew Roots, going back to church, or either they losing faith altogether. And that is sad. Sure, I don't have a problem with somebody going back to church, because guess what? I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty strange. But I have one more question to ask you before we finish up.
Yes.
And that is, do you feel confident enough to speak of such things here, like in a national media situation, like on Fox News?
I would have no problem being on Fox News.
Do you get nervous in these
kinds of... No, as a matter of fact, between me, you, and the fence post, I would eat that stuff up. Okay. I'd love to get a hold of Leo Terrell.
Well, I think what my intention is at the beginning of this, before we really got into it, was that I want to send a recommendation out and maybe put this up and try to get a few of these executives to take a look at it.
That's fine.
I'm tired of that. Al Sharpton,
Jesse Jackson with his illegitimate baby. We need to get those. Honestly, those people need to, and I'm going to say this, they need to sit their ass down. They have destroyed this country, and we're sick of it. So we got, do that, Jack.
And that's one of the reasons that I have been trying to support you all these years, because I saw a diamond in the rough.
Yes.
That could be developed into a real spokesman for our point of view.
And that's something that we could still do. We could still do that stuff, even though I'll be operating for I could still do stuff like that.
All right. You want to come back next week?
That's fine. Yes.
Okay, brother.
All right, my brother.
Let's see your pictorial again.
Oh, God. Pectorial. You see
Pectorial. Okay. Thanks a lot for coming on, and I'll get this up right away. And we'll
Okay.
get together again next week at the same time.
All right. Shalom,
All
shalom,
right.
and Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.